Hey, welcome to our Friday afternoon live broadcast on our IF Keto Family Life page. Today we are going to be talking about fruit sugar and is fruit sugar bad for men? Michael is going to share a little bit of his own personal journey and experience with fruit and where to properly place it in his life. Thank you so much if you're jumping on with us live. If you're jumping on the rebroadcast, we also appreciate you guys jumping on and value your participation and placement in our community here as we share some of the things that Michael and I have gone through as a couple with our intermittent fasting and developing the keto-like lifestyle. If you're new, take a second, please, to hit that like button so that you are notified when we do go live on this page. Right now, we're going live at 3 p.m. every Friday, and that's Central Standard Time. And this will also be uploaded to my YouTube channel as well. So if you catch this on the rebroadcast, you can catch it on the YouTube channel as well. So what I want to do really quickly, in case you didn't catch us on our Monday broadcast over on my page, where I talked about sugars and kind of described the 3 different kind of sugars that we have to be very aware of. I'm going to go through that really quickly just so you know where we're coming from and why it is that we are really sharing this information about fruit sugar specifically. So I discussed on Monday that there are, basically 3 levels, I guess, is how I like to think of it, of sugar. The first one being sucrose, which is the one that we're commonly introduced to or aware of, and that's basically table sugar. Inside of our body's system, sucrose is broken down by an enzyme that our body has naturally, and that enzyme breaks down sucrose into glucose and fructose. Glucose and fructose are metabolized completely different in our body, and this is where we really need to pay attention to the understanding of our body systems and how these sugars play a role in the good or the bad that we have going on with not only our health, but what it is that we're doing with metabolizing those sugars and our own body weight and physique. So glucose, we talk a lot about when we're talking about intermittent fasting and living a keto-like lifestyle, because glucose is the sugar in our body that is converted into glycogen in our liver and our muscles, and it's our primary or most readily available energy source. So there's plenty of it. It's always readily available. You physically can never run out of glycogen. We always have an emergency store of it. So no matter how long you've been intermittent fasting or how keto-like you get, you will always have glucose available in your liver and or your muscles. Or glycogen stored. Fructose is the sugar that comes from fruit and vegetables, primarily fruits, and fructose is completely metabolized in a completely different way in our body. Fructose only gets metabolized straight to our liver, so we don't use it as a source of energy like we think or we thought we did, and so it goes right into our liver and is converted into fat. It's not converted into glycogen, just fat. And if we're not burning through our stores efficiently enough, that fat just sits in our liver. And if we're not burning through our glycogen properly, or we have too much of a storage in our liver as fat, then we create that backup, which is really where we start to develop some problems with fatty liver, insulin resistance, and pre-diabetic states. So fructose is also that type of sugar that really can mess up and imbalance our hunger hormones. And that is really what we're trying to balance out when we're practicing intermittent fasting and our keto-like lifestyle, most specifically practicing the habit of clean fasting so that we can really tap into those 3 hunger hormones that can really send us psychologically and physically and mentally a little askew when we're trying to fast, because the hunger hormones are those things that are sending those signals to our body, making us feel like we need more or that we're hungry when we're really not, and can make us live in that state of turmoil when we're really trying to do some good with our body with fasting and a keto-like lifestyle. So that's really briefly the 3 areas of sugar that we're going to really concentrate on today. And again, we went over this on Monday. If you guys want to catch that, it's on our YouTube channel or my Facebook page. So are men's bodies different than women when it comes to fruit and metabolizing these sugars and trying to balance out your hunger hormones? The quick answer to that is no, absolutely not, because our systems are designed to do the same sort of thing as far as metabolism goes. Now, men, because they weigh more or because maybe they have more muscle on their body, are going to have some advantages that we women don't have. But the end result of overconsumption and not understanding how your hunger hormones work, or not really being truthful with yourself and what it is you're putting in your body as far as nutrients goes, is where men can often get themselves in trouble. If you're a woman who's ever dieted with their husband, yes, I've been that woman dieting with my husband or exercising in an exercise program. He loses weight very effortlessly, or at least that's what it seems like, and can often get in shape a lot faster with not having to go as deep into a diet phase as I would. And I'm sure all you women out there understand and have felt that, and men, you are the victors in that. But we can't lose sight of the fact that when all is said and done, our bodies are pretty similar on how things kind of go wrong when we're not doing the right things. And men really need to pay attention, especially to this phase of life that most of us are in here. And that's that late 40s, early 50s, 60s, that if we're not paying attention to what we're putting in our bodies, and we're not understanding how certain things are metabolized, then we can find ourselves in situations where we're diabetic, and or suffering some sort of heart type of condition where we're just not paying attention to the signs and signals our body's sending us. So men, you're in exactly the same position we are when it comes to that. So when I first started going on my journey, I was, cutting out all the extra sugars. And because I was pre-diabetic, I explained this week on my channel how I had to really ration out fruit exposures in my body. And I went down to Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I was watching some things that Michael was doing and some complaints that he was kind of having with his energy and some things that he was a little frustrated with his own physical transformation, with trying to keep up with aging and how our bodies tend to slow down with all of that. And was trying to lay down some hints for Michael about fruit and where he was putting fruit in his life and where he might not be as honest or truthful with what he was doing and how it was affecting his body. So I'm going to have Michael kind of explain the journey that he went on and some things that he did and some realizations that he had, now that we've kind of laid down the groundwork for what sugar is and how it works in our body. So Michael, what was the big aha moment for you about carbs in general, and more specifically the sugar that you were taking in and where it was sort of holding you in a holding pattern for the results that you wanted, how you wanted to feel?
Well, I think I was kind of being held down by sugar, just habit alone. I mean, because you always kind of feel like fruit's healthy, right? Like you explained, the fructose style sugars are healthy. And then on top of that, what I would do is I'd have oatmeal covered in fruit, toast. How many more carbs and sugars can you build up in one meal? And that was just for breakfast. So I think where we get into trouble is we think, well, fruit's okay. I can stack all these fruits and sugars, but I think I was kind of naive about it, because that's just breakfast. Like I said, you're loading up on carbs and sugars. And then what are you doing for lunch? Are you having a sandwich with more bread? And then if it's Friday, and you're headed to the weekend, you sit around and start drinking some beers. So, you're so overloaded with these sugars and carbs that I think you're in denial about it. And like Diane said, as men, we tend to I can get in shape like that, and, I can kick on a diet that fast and see things work in my favor. But in the long run, if you're still doing all these bad habits and you don't see where sugar's causing you a problem, you're going to get into trouble. Because I'm from a family of diabetics. Everybody in my family has diabetes except for me. And I've tried to stay on a track to not go that direction. But I could feel myself slowly inching that direction, because I was getting these symptoms where I've just felt like, I think I was just in denial about where that was coming from, why I was, feeling bad, and, energy levels and all these different things going on. Like I've explained to you guys before, I had some foot issues going on. And I was able to kind of narrow that down when we started doing the intermittent fasting, and kind of see, this whole style of eating with, with high fats and moderate proteins and conscious carbs, kind of put me on track to kind of see where like, oh, okay, I'm really feeling a huge difference, and I'm not, retaining as much water, and then inflammation issues, all this stuff just gone from doing the fasting. So,
and when you were eating, your oatmeal in the morning with your berries on top, which berries are great. I mean, if you're going to have fruit, berries are one of the groups of fruits that are definitely on the lower glycemic index end, but then you put them on top of some oatmeal, and then, maybe you have a piece of toast with some peanut butter, and then you put a little banana on top of that. What did you feel like you were doing that just sort of like it's just what you did, like as sort of a habit, and that you unconsciously were just living this way because that's what you've always done and never really considered anything else?
Well, yeah, you never really consider anything else because you feel like, I think as a man, especially, you feel like, what's this my right? Like, if I want to have a banana on my toast, like, who are you to be barking at me over here, telling me like what I should and shouldn't eat? You know what I mean? When it's really not the case. She had kind of figured some things out, and she always seems to do that with like, health and fitness stuff, which is great. I mean, so like a part of me kind of goes, yeah, I know she's probably right about that, but I'm not really ready to give up my banana. I'm not really ready to give up my fruit on my oatmeal and all that. But I think just from cutting out that first meal and having, I used to have that oatmeal and I put it, I'd have my spinach, and I'd have all these fruits, and, so that being cut out alone, it kind of put me on track to, okay, I can see some differences. So now, not only did I hear what she was saying, but now I'm kind of practicing part of that, and I could feel some huge differences. And I swear to you, if I hear one more man or anybody out there say anything about their fruit smoothie, okay, what do you have in your shake again? That, they got raspberries, blueberries, banana. It's like, I swear I'm going to lose my bottom lip because I'm chewing it off. I'm like, that's a sugar bomb that's just you're just heading in the wrong direction, but you feel like you can't say anything. You don't want to be preaching to people. But I think we get into those habits of, I can kind of do what I want. And really, honestly, like if you feel like you want to have blackberries so you can get the polyphenols from dark fruits, then by all means go for it. But you can't do the bread, try to get your polyphenols from blackberries and blueberries and all this stuff, and stack that with, I'm going to have an afternoon sandwich, and then at night I'm going to have some beer and pizza. It ain't all going to go down like that.
Well, and for a while we were breaking our fast with our oatmeal, our spinach, and our fruit, and noticing that we weren't feeling great, like right when we were breaking our fast. And so we were still scared to let go of a lot of our habitual foods. And we just moved them to a different part of our day, which is always the first great step that you make when you're starting to introduce intermittent fasting. You sort of just take your breakfast and you move it to a later part of the day. And then we've taken it to the next level now, where we're like, do we really need that oatmeal? Like right now it's 3:00 in the afternoon. And we broke our fast with iced coffee and olives, And so you really do, as the more open you keep your mind and the more attentive you are to the results that you're getting, because this guy, he notices every single day there's a change in his physique without much effort. It's just realizing that, okay, maybe it is the oatmeal loaded up with fruit that's keeping me from losing that last little bit of whatever it is that you want to change in your body. Or maybe it is that thing that's keeping you from seeing the muscles that you know you have underneath whatever it is that's on the top, usually inflammation or a little layer of blubber. And I think that's the thing that, we've even noticed too, is that we see such better results with such little effort, and not to diminish exercise in any way, because we love exercising, but it's so awesome to see my husband so thrilled with the results that he's getting with his physique, and his sleep is getting so much better, and the way he's feeling consistently is getting so much better without having to live in a gym, and constantly be working out, which at a certain point in your life, you're just risking an injury waiting to happen down the road. So we're not over exercising, and just eliminating or being conscious about where, and I like to say where you place some foods in your life. So are we completely fruit free? No. Michael still probably consumes more fruit than I do, but he places it in his life in a way that makes sense for him now. So we no longer break our fast with a big bowl of oatmeal stacked with a bunch of fruit on the top of it. We even ration out a banana when we're making a shake for ourselves in the afternoon. Like, you don't need an entire banana in your shake. And for us, it's gotten to that point where I was explaining to Michael today, we were talking about coming here to talk to you guys and said, I have to make the decision. Do I want a really creamy shake with, or a creamy something or other with a banana in it? Or do I want to be confident when I'm laying out at the pool in my bathing suit? Well, I would much rather feel confident in my bathing suit. And sadly, you can't have both. And I know Michael's felt the same way too, even with your own physique, right? You have to go, okay, do I want to be confident at the pool, hanging out with my family in my swim trunks with no shirt on? Or do I want a creamy shake? Or do I want oatmeal with berries? Or do I want the toast with the peanut butter and a banana on the top? And you've come to that realization.
Yeah,
well, right?
and then, like I said, it's that whole denial thing. Sometimes you can get in such denial. Like, I know exactly if I'm doing the wrong things, where my weight's going to go. It goes right around my waist. And one of the first things you tend to do is you kind of lie to yourself and go, honey, something's got to be wrong with our dryer, right? Something has to be wrong with our dryer, because there's no way I went from a 30 4 to a 36. I mean, like, I can't even button these pants up. Like, it's got to be something wrong with our dryer. Well, no, like, you've been practicing the wrong things now for months and months, and it could lead into years and years. And then you have those different stacks of clothes. I mean, you hear women talk about this. I think we're the same way. I have stacks of clothes. I have this size, this size, this size, and you bounce around, you're down to 32, and then you find your way back up to 36. I won't go past 36, people. I just won't. I mean, when I start to get that Dunlap, my belly Dunlapped over my belt, it's time to really tighten it up. So, yeah, so there's definitely a lot of denial, because I know where my weight goes. It goes right around my waist, and I might not see it in too many other places. I might see it in my face a little bit, but you have to listen to it. I think once you start to listen to it and you go, yeah, that tightness is right here where it's supposed to be on me and where it always is. So I got to kind of focus on what I'm doing. And sometimes we tend to think, well, I need to exercise more. If I exercise more, everything will be okay. When it might help you, but you can get there a lot quicker if you just hit that dense nutrition part. And then when you're doing your exercise, man, it's going to come like that.
Right.
And you're going to look in the mirror and go, and you're going to put your pants on and go, wow, I mean, these pants are falling off of me.
Right. So we'll close it up with this. Do you feel like the changes that you've made and the things that you've done to cut out the unnecessary fruit, sugar in your life has been something that you feel is depriving you? Or do you feel that the decisions that you made and those aha moments that you've had and the connections that you made about what you want to look and feel like and what you've been doing have been worth it?
I think it's been worth it because we have some good alternatives. Like today we had olives. I mean, I couldn't stand olives before, honestly. And I don't know, like, when I started liking them, but I don't know, my taste buds have changed. Like, I can kill some olives, and that's a heck of a lot different than a huge bowl of grapes that we used to go through.
Right. We could kill like 2 or 3 pounds. Like if you go to the store and you buy a pound or 2 of grapes and we wash them off and I used to put them on the counter in a display pretty plate, and we could sit at the island and knock off a pound or 2 of grapes without even thinking about it.
That's straight denial right there.
Right.
You know better.
Right. And then what we've done is we just don't make them available anymore. And we pulled out a jar of green olives today. And Gabby, Michael, and I sat at the island doing what we always do. We were talking and we enjoyed 2 or 3 olives because you're so much more satisfied with the sensation and the flavor of an olive that's salty, and we have a little bit of jalapeno in ours, and so it's spicy, versus the sweet sensation that really is difficult for your body to feel satisfied with. And that goes back to our hunger hormones, which we discuss in the course that I teach and we discuss on this channel a lot, is that when your hunger hormones are balanced out, your body sends you the signals of being nutrient satisfied. Grapes don't do that. So that whole excuse of, but fruit has so many nutrients in it, that's great. But if they were so nutrient dense and they gave your signals, your hormones, the signal to send to you back to your brain that you have everything you need to survive, then you could eat 2 or 3 grapes and be fine. The fact that we eat a pound or 2 of grapes at a sitting is because the nutrients in grapes don't satisfy your hunger hormones, because our body, knowing now how fructose works, is not the kind of sugar that's provided for the immediate energy source that we need. Fat is. Fats, olives are full of fat. So 2 or 3 olives sends the signals to our hunger hormones that, you have everything you need to survive energy-wise. You don't need to eat anymore. And then your signals are shut off and you could easily walk away from a bottle of grapes by just eating, a bottle of olives by eating just 1 or 2. So you have to understand too, how your hunger hormones work, what's going to satisfy them, and then what that satisfaction is going to send back to you as a signal that you're okay.
And to answer your question more, like, I don't feel like I'm really missing anything, because, there's times I'll put that banana in my shake, but I got to be aware of, like, okay, I can't have that, and I can't stack this on a bunch of other things, and so you can't have your fruit in your smoothie and then like I said, do that afternoon lunch thing where you're stacking up on some more fruits and carbs and then, oh, by the way, it's Friday night, I'm going to have a few beers and I'm going to have that pizza and I'm going to have some more fruit mixed in there somewhere. You can't do that. So if you're going to have that thing that you desire, if you want to put the banana in your shake, put the banana in your shake, but you can't do that and stack it on top of other things.
Right.
And you have to be aware that for your body, you might not be able to have that banana at all, because you might just not be able to, get rid of that sugar, and it's causing you all kinds of issues. So I think you have to listen to yourself and see what works for you. I mean, don't listen to what anybody's telling you to do with sugar. Check your body, check yourself.
Right.
And see how your body's handling the sugar.
And understanding how you made a good point there too, about how your body burns off that energy. And that's what we really have to start thinking about, is the backup system, the fact that our body gets backed up. Just like I think I made an analogy this week, like your garbage disposal. When you have too much stuff down your garbage disposal and you're running water in your sink, the water starts to rise up. It doesn't drain anymore, and then it gets backed up in your sink. Well, that's what happens to our liver. That's what happens to our cells, that they get so backed up because for a lot of us, we're living a sedentary life. Michael and I have a very sedentary life, even though we talk about health and fitness all the time, because we're home. We work from home. We could very easily be in front of our computers all day. We have to actively pursue exercising and getting our body system to run through our energy sources. So if you have a backup of your storage of glycogen in your liver and your muscles, and then you're throwing a bunch of fruit on top of that, which goes right into your liver as fat, then you start to build up that backup system where you get into trouble. So you also have to be very, very honest with yourself about how active you are. And that's where we really use our fitness monitors to say, okay, did we move enough today? Did we burn off enough of that stored glycogen? Can we get into that state of fat burning, which is the ultimate goal for not only healing your body, but what we're trying to do with our intermittent fasting and living our keto-like lifestyle, managing those carbohydrates in such a way that you give your body the opportunity to burn through what's readily available and get into that storage and start really cleansing out that liver and cleansing out that muscle glycogen and getting yourself to that fat burning state where you can start healing your body and recovering from some things.
And the whole sedentary thing, you really got to check yourself on it, because I've told that to people before, how sedentary we are, and they always kind of look at me like, you guys are not sedentary. You're so active and you're so fit and you're so no, we're sedentary because we're sitting down most of the time. I mean, we'll go out and we'll walk the dog and we'll work out and we'll get on the Peloton and we'll, whatever. We'll get we try to move as much as we can, but most of the time we're sitting down, working at, doing stuff at home, working and, talking with the kids, like we're sitting down a lot, and we have to really track how much we move.
Yep. So that's a thing to remember too. So if you're eating a bunch of carbs and you're not burning them off, that also adds to the backup problem that we have with our liver and our muscle glycogen and stuff. And that's where we start to get in trouble with the insulin resistance and fatty liver and diabetic state and stuff like that. So it is a combination of moving that through your system and then managing it through what you're taking in nutritionally as well. So let me see if we have any questions here, and then we're going to jump off because it's Good Friday and we got some stuff going on at our house, and I'm sure you guys too. Sandy, thanks for jumping on from Maryland with us. Christina, hello from Minnesota. Joy, girlfriend, always nice to have you over here. Husband later, good. Let us know what he thinks. Maya from California, so happy to get to listen to you live. Could you talk about stevia, and if I put stevia in my tea, is it still a fasted state? No, Maya, it's not, because there have been studies done. Most of these studies are done on rats, but I don't care that it's done on a rat. I take it for what it is as far as a study. And they've put stevia on the tongues of mice, and they managed their insulin response from that. And the flavor sensation signal gets sent to your brain, and your brain then sends a signal to your hormones to release insulin in preparation for food coming in. So it starts the system or the process of what the job of insulin is in your body. So if you put stevia in your coffee or your tea during your fasted state, you've just created an insulin response, and it's taking you out of a clean fasted state. Now, this is important to know when you're trying to heal your body of something, or if you want to be in a deep fat adaptive type of environment during your fasted window to lose weight, body fat, balance hormones, those kind of things. That's important. If you feel like you're healed and maybe you're managing your fasting and your feasting in a different way, and you have stevia every now and then in your coffee or your tea, it might not be as bad of a thing or negative of a thing, especially if you are working out, because we know that exercising also helps burn off glycogen, and glycogen is the process of glucose and insulin. So you have to make sure that you understand what you're doing, and if the goal of your fasting is to be in a clean fasted state for healing purposes, and you start your morning with stevia in your coffee, you just put yourself in an insulin, a state where you have insulin that's just been released in your body hormonally. So make sure you understand that for sure. And if you want to be clean fasted, you got to ditch the stevia. Also know this, that stevia, all those artificial sweeteners are just as bad, if not worse, as just regular sweeteners and sugar type of things. And they will leave you craving sugar more. And I did a little test with myself when I had stevia in my coffee still in my fasted state. And what it did is it made me crave more sweets in my feasting window. So you really have to break that craving and desire to have sweet things. And then once you break that, then it's easy to have black coffee because you don't need to have that sensation of sweetness satisfied. So you can break that for sure. Let's see. Jillian, hello, girlfriend. Susan, hello. Angela, y'all are awesome. Thanks for everything y'all do. Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Diane from Pennsylvania. Angela, when is your next class? Our next class is on April the 7th. And if you go to if you go to 4 Today's with the S at the end, agingwoman.com, you can get yourself registered for the next course, or you can go check out my page to get information there. And always email me if you need to, dianeparhamfitness@gmail.com. Angela, can't do sweet anything. It's crazy. I used to drink 6 Cokes a day. I know, girlfriend, same thing here. We were Diet Coke fanatics. Diet Coke. And now a Diet Coke just doesn't, even a Diet Coke makes us not feel well. So your body can break all of those addictions and all those feelings of like you can't live without it. Trust me, you can. You just got to get through that initial stage of breaking the addiction, and then you'll be fine. Yes, I'm a truck driver. I know about sitting. Yeah, for sure, Angela. Ron from Arizona, thanks for jumping on with us.
Hey, Ron.
Joy is asking, what about honey? Honey is sugar. Sugar is sugar is sugar. So if you're wanting to keep sugar out of your system, you have to keep all sweet things out of your system, or place them appropriately. Joy would be the best way to describe that. So just be aware when you put honey in something that you're going to have that sugar response in your body. Susan, what about a supplement spray that has 7 milligrams of stevia in it? Yeah, that's still stevia. So your body's going to still have that reaction to the chemical of stevia. So stevia is going to cause a chemical reaction in your body. Remember, everything that we put in our body, on our body, or around our body has the opportunity to produce some sort of chemical reaction in our system. So whether we're breathing it in, that's still feeding your body. Whether you're putting it on, you're still feeding your body. Or whether you put it in, you're still feeding your body. And all of those 3 situations will cause a chemical reaction in your body. So we have to be very aware of our environment as well. And we talk about this more deeply for women in our intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, because there's a lot of things in our environment that are keeping us in a state of hormonal imbalance. It's not just what we're consuming as nutrition, it's also what we're putting on our body and around our body. And we have to be very aware of that, because there's a lot of things in our environment today that are conveniences and niceties to have, but they're also those things that are keeping us in a state of sickness. And it's true for men as well. Men, there's a lot of men out there that don't even know it, but they're estrogen dominant. And there's a lot of things in our environment that keep you on that estrogen dominant side for men. And men have the same sort of reactions to a lot of these phytoestrogens that we have in our environment, from plastics, plastic shower curtains, soy-based candles, lotions, deodorants, all of those things that have those phytoestrogens in them can keep a man's hormonal system out of balance as well. So it's not just us women. Remember, we have testosterone in our system and men have estrogen in their system. It's just the level in which we have them that makes us different. And so for a lot of men, they're having a lot of problems losing weight as well, or they're having some of those estrogen dominant type of situations going on in their body. So it's very important for men to also be very aware of how many things you have in your environment that could be keeping you in that estrogen dominant situation. And it's pretty serious stuff. So we want to make sure we're aware of that and helping educate our men on that as well.
And I think it's important for you guys to know that when Diane starts talking about the stevia stuff, it can be controversial, because you can listen to a lot of experts out there to go, oh yeah, as long as it's under, 10 calories, it's not going to break your fast. A lot of experts you'll hear say that. But the position that we're coming from, and what Diane is coming from, teaching what has it been, 3,000 women since last year through the course, is you start to get a lot of, how would I say it? You start to see results coming back from people, and people are trying it one way. And then, Diane's response to them is usually, well, try it, see how it works. If that's not working, you're not losing weight, then try this, just do a clean fast. And then most of the time, these women are coming back, oh, I lost 10 pounds now, just out of nowhere, so this
stuff, your sugar-free, calorie-free.
Yeah. So this stuff has been tested. So if you're listening, thinking, well, what are you talking about? I can't have stevia, or I can't have a little bit of honey. There's other people that are saying that it's okay. Well, you can listen to them too and keep doing what you're doing. But if it's not working for you, try it. Just try taking it out and doing a clean fast. You could always go back to stevia at some point if you feel like, well, I've healed myself. Now I'm aware and, I'm where I want to be. Then maybe that'll work for you. But you have to do what you have to try to hit your goals and then find out what will work for you to hit those goals.
Yeah, perfect. And if you're in a backup situation still, meaning that you're not draining your liver of all that stored fat, and you're not in an opportunity to burn off all that glycogen that's in your muscles and your liver, then stevia is going to keep you in that backup state. So give yourself a good window of time and consistency to drain it out. Get yourself back to that healthy state. You're not insulin resistant anymore. You're not in that diabetic warning stage, and your body's functioning through those chemical changes more efficiently, that's when you have a little bit of a window to kind of put some stuff back in. So it's not a permanent thing. We just broke our fast. I had iced coffee with some Ripple half and half in it and a packet of stevia in it. But I did it at the end of my fasting window. We were about 17 or 18 hours fasted. So that stevia is not going to be a problem for me because I legit just broke my fast with it. But I have to be also very careful because I do like sweet things. And if I notice I'm craving sweet things in my feasting window, that's when I have to go back to going, okay, where is it that I'm putting too much sweetness in? Is it the stevia? Am I consuming too much fruit? And then you have to kind of go back to weaning some things out again. And then it sneaks back in, and then you check your results. You're not happy, you wean it back out. So it is going to be that process of, it's going to constantly be evolving for you as you heal yourself, as you become more confident, as you become more aware, and being healthy enough to realize, okay, I'm probably loosening up the reins a little bit too much. It's time to pull them back again, get back to the point where you're feeling good again, and then evaluate, is it worth it to put it back in? Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And so we'll close it out with that there. Oh, good. Joy, I'm glad that helped you figure out the honey thing. And then going into Easter weekend, I know I had some people ask me what it is we eat for Easter dinner. So we are fortunate or unfortunate, however you want to look at it, that we don't have major major Easter commitments for ourselves. We have family that doesn't live in the state of Texas, so we don't have any big family obligations. We have older kids, so they're not really into the Easter bunny kind of thing anymore. And so we have a really mellow holiday season, no matter what holiday it is. And we really do try to focus on family and not so much the food. And so our daughter is 11 this year. Easter bunny is not bringing her any candy. Our son is 17. He doesn't need the Easter bunnies coming to visit him. So we don't do any of that in our house anymore. And we really don't use a holiday coming up as an excuse to kind of go off the deep end. Now, with that being said, so we're going to eat normally Easter dinner. It's going to be a normal dinner situation for us. We're going to fast. If you are in a situation where we're going to someone else's house for an Easter dinner or an Easter brunch or something like that, and we teach this in our course in the emotional and social side of the course that we teach, you have to make conscious decisions going in and decide what it is you're going to allow in and what you're going to not allow in, and know that you have certain guidelines and boundaries for your life, and eating something that's going to make you feel physically, emotionally, or mentally bad is never worth it. Don't worry about what other people think about you. Have your boundaries. Michael and I often talk about what we're going to do before we go out to dinner or before we go out to socialize with friends. And we say, okay, this is what we're going to stick to tonight. And we have each other's back. So if you have someone in your family that you can do that with, your spouse or whoever that is for you, make sure you have that conversation going into a social event. What are we going to do today, and how can I have your back to make sure you stay on your guidelines and I stay on my guidelines? And then you stick together. Bring a dish that you can make for yourself. You know what the ingredients are. You know that it's going to stand by your personal guidelines and what it is you want to do nutritionally. And if that's the only thing you eat, so be it. It's the only thing that you eat. That way, when you come out of an amazing holiday like Easter, where you're going to be, partaking in the spiritual or religious part of it, or just the social part of it, you can leave that situation and start your Monday not having regrets about the time that you spent with the people that you say you love. And that's my big thing about holidays or date nights or any of those things. You want to leave that situation feeling empowered, confident, and good about the time spent with people that you love and what it is that you are celebrating. So have a plan going in. If you have to bring your own food, you bring your own food. And then you don't blame other people for bad decisions that you made, and you don't have any regrets about the time that you spent with the people that you love. And that's the best advice I can give you guys going into a holiday weekend. And that's how we're going to handle it in our house too. We're not going to put anything into our celebration or whatever it is we do on Easter that's going to make us feel bad about ourselves or the time that we have spent.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So thanks so much for jumping on. If you're joining us in the rebroadcast, please leave us a comment so that we know you were here. This will also be uploaded to my YouTube channel. And what we'll do is we'll include the link for the handout that we did last week on our Monday or Wednesday on my page. So if you want to have our fructose list, we'll have that available for you once this is uploaded to YouTube. Have a great holiday weekend. Enjoy your Easter if that's what you'll be celebrating this weekend. And then we'll see you.
What do you type in here to get notes?
No, we'll do it. I'll just put it on the YouTube because Kara's away on a special. Her and her husband do an amazing date thing. It's not even a night. They just do a couple special dates together. And her husband is amazing. He whisked her off today for them to go have a quiet weekend alone. And so she's not here to do our notes thing for us on the back end of things. So I'll make sure that when she uploads this to YouTube, you'll have a link to the notes. And if you caught us Monday or Wednesday on my page, then you got it already. So have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you guys around somewhere on social media. And then we'll catch you guys Monday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time over on my page.
All right. See you. Have a great weekend.